There's something that if you're entertaining the idea of setting up your first aquarium, you're going to find within the first 5 minutes of doing research. It's a particular word that I believe can scare a lot of people away. Today, I'm going to hopefully make you feel a lot better about that word. Before I reveal this mysterious word that could be the word that scares away so many potential fish keepers, I want to ask you for a favor. If you are an experienced fish keeper, you've been doing this for a while, you know a thing or two about glass boxes full of water, I want to ask you to beat it. Scram. Just get out of here. This video is not for you. I want to talk exclusively to people who are setting up their first aquarium. They're in that research phase. They're just checking things out. Or people that maybe just started their first aquarium. If you've been doing this for a while, you don't belong here. This video is not for you. You are forbidden from watching this. Okay? Please do me that favor. Is everybody gone? Did we get them out of here? Are they out? Okay. It's just us now, right? It's just me, John from KGTropicals, here to talk to you. The new people, you're newbies. We love newbies. I've always tried to cater my content to new fish keepers. My job is to keep people in this hobby or get them into the hobby. I could be called a recruiter, I guess. It's just us. Now, what is this word? What is this word that scares away so many fish keepers? The word that you hear so many nerds online talking about, and you've wondered, is it really a thing? Do I really have to do that? Because if I have to, I'm out of here. What is that word? The word is quarantine. Do you have to do it, or is it just one of those things that the elitists do? Do you need to set up a whole other aquarium? If you're going to get started in this hobby, does it mean that you have to set up 2 tanks, one to be your tank that you enjoy and the other to just be there as a quarantine tank? Do you have to do that? This is a really tough one. It's a really difficult nut to crack. And if I'm being honest with you, I've been trying to make this video for like 2 hours and I've been struggling because it's a difficult topic to talk about, because I do believe that quarantining fish is one of the most important things that you can do in this hobby. But I also understand how difficult it can be. I understand both sides of the equation. So what I want to do is I want to talk to you about why we do it, the potential issues that you can avoid by doing it, and hopefully convince you that it's the right thing to do. But also do that with you understanding that I understand not everybody can do it. And I'm not going to call you a bad person if you don't. But what I will say is, you might regret it if you don't do it. And I've got some stories to back that up. So first of all, what is quarantining? Well, it's very simple. It's taking fish that you just bought and isolating them to make sure they're okay for a period of time, the longer the better, to make sure that they're not bringing with them any issues, any diseases, any whatever that could have possibly come from the farm or from stress or from the distributor or the fish store or wherever they've been in the massive process that it's taken from getting them from the farm to your aquarium. Anything that they may have picked up in their journey, making sure that that thing doesn't get transmitted to all of your precious fish that you already have in your main display tank, show tank, whatever it is that you want to call it. Just making sure that you don't bring anything nasty into that tank. That's what quarantining is. How do we do it? Well, it's very simple. There's some people that do it the simplest way possible, which would be just using something like a bucket or a tote or something like that. I don't particularly like that strategy, but it's basically putting your fish in anything that can isolate them for a period of time, to monitor them and make sure it's okay. It could be a small 10-gallon aquarium that you store somewhere and you just pull it out whenever you need it. Buy it at the Petco 50% off sale. You get them for super cheap. Have it around just to use in those situations. Or some people go to great lengths. They go crazy with it and they set up whole systems for quarantining because they value their display tanks that much. You can do it as simple or go as far with it as you want. If I was to give you advice as to what to set up as a quarantine tank, it's something like a 10-gallon tank or a 20-gallon tank or whatever. You can pick one up at a yard sale or buy one off Facebook Marketplace. Something small that you can stick in a closet and pull out when you need it. I like using an aquarium for quarantine better than a bucket or a tote or something like that because I can visually see the fish. If you're only looking at them from the top, which is what you would have to do if you're using a bucket or a tote, you might not see little things. You might not see that red spot on the bottom or whatever it is. You can see them a lot better if you have them in an aquarium of some kind. If you're somebody that keeps small community fish, little stuff, you can certainly use a 5-gallon tank. But to me, the best quarantine is a 10-gallon tank. They're small enough to be able to store somewhere, yet big enough to be able to keep fish that are a couple inches without any problems. 10-gallon tanks, cheap, easy. That's the best way to go. Filtering one of these could not be simpler. I'm going to give you a very easy trick to always have a filter available so that you can cycle your quarantine tank really fast. And that way it is something that you can store. I'm getting ahead of myself. One of the things that experienced fish keepers are concerned about is having the tank ready and having it cycled and having it accessible to use. And if you're going to store it in a closet, you're starting from scratch every single time, and that could be dangerous. Well, if you have something like a sponge filter running hidden in your existing aquarium, or even if it's a small hang on the back filter, just cycling water through it from your main tank, something extra that doesn't belong on your display tank, but it's there for seeding purposes just to be able to put into that storage tank, or it's better to say the tank that you have stored. You can get the cycle going super fast. You don't have to worry about it. You are able to store that tank away, because I understand a lot of people aren't going to want to have a tank permanently set up all the time. You got to buy another light. You got to buy another heater, all of this. I get it. Having it in the closet with a filter that is seeded and ready to go, meaning it's got life in it, it's got bacteria in it, it's ready, that's perfectly acceptable as a quarantine tank. I hope that makes sense. This is why I like working off a script, because I go all over the place. So we know why we quarantine. We know what to use for quarantine, at least my recommendations on that. If you're somebody that has a lot of money and you want to set up a 125-gallon tank exclusively for quarantine, hey, you do that. That's awesome. That's great. Better than what most people are doing, including me. But for us mere mortals, a 10-gallon, perfectly fine. We know what it is. We know how to do it. Now let me explain to you whether or not you should. And I think the best way of explaining that is to tell you some stories. I've been doing this a long time, so trust me, I've got many. I've got 2 examples of quarantine stories. One of them is a scenario where we really wish we had quarantined fish, and the other one is one where we were really glad we quarantined the fish. And I want to start off with the sad one. This story goes back to, I believe, 2019. But I could be wrong. I think it was 2019. Lisa went on a trip to Pennsylvania with our middle daughter because she had a field hockey tournament. Or maybe it was softball, but I think it was field hockey. They went to Pennsylvania for this event, and on their way back, they stopped at Rachel O'Leary's house. They got to hang out with Rachel the whole day. They had a lot of fun, and Lisa brought home a batch of purple emperor tetras from Rachel's. And she absolutely loved these fish. They were in a 75-gallon tank. They were beautiful. I don't remember how many there were, but there was a lot of them. And she had them for a while. She had these fish for a couple of years. And then she just decided, I want to add something else to that tank. And what she decided to add was cory cats. I'm not going to tell you where she got them from, but she decided to add a batch of, I believe, 6 cory cats to this tank. And this is one of the reasons why Lisa's not the biggest fan of cory cats. She loved them then, but after this, she didn't love them as much. And it's not really the cory cat's fault, if we're being honest, but she went and bought these fish, and we didn't really have a setup to do quarantine at the time, even though we should have, but we didn't. She decided to just put them right into that tank with those purple emperor tetras. I know if there are some experienced fish keepers that are not supposed to be here, because we kicked them out in the beginning, remember? But if they're in here, they are cringing right now because they're like, I can't believe Lisa would have done that. Well, we all have to learn our lessons one way, right? I mean, we weren't, like I said, we weren't really set up to do it. It was kind of one of those spur of the moment things. She just made the decision and she put those cory cats in there. And within about 24 hours, believe me when I tell you, she was absolutely regretting that. I don't know what it was. We'll never know what it was because this was a while ago. Those purple emperor tetras and the cory cats just started dying off. And the end of the story is as sad as you think it is. Everything in that tank was completely wiped out. All of the cory cats died. All of the purple emperor tetras died. And let me just tell you that she had those the purple emperors for a couple of years, never lost one. And then all of a sudden, right after adding those cory cats, again, within 24 hours, boom, one after the other, they just started dying off. And by the time we figured out something was wrong, it was too late. Whatever it was took hold, wiped out the entire tank. Let me tell you, when their fish are very special like that, all fish are special, I get it, but there was significance to these fish because she spent the day with Rachel. Rachel is a friend and got those fish from Rachel. They were special to her and they were all gone. And boy, could I tell you, she learned her lesson. We learned our lesson. I didn't stop her, so it's just as much my fault as it is hers. But the beautiful thing about my wife is that she does learn from those mistakes, and she definitely learned from this one. And so sometime after that, don't even really know when it was, but she got another batch of fish that was from another place. Again, not going to say where, but she got a batch of rummy nose tetras. Her and I are both massive fans of rummy nose tetras. They're one of my favorite fish, but if you've ever kept them, you know that they can be a little tricky sometimes. And she did not want to risk it. It had nothing to do with where she got those fish from. It had everything to do with bad experiences in the past and not wanting to make that mistake again. So we had, between the time those purple emperors died and getting these rummy nose, we had set up a system, not a whole system, but a tank exclusively for quarantining. And so when she got this new batch of 12 rummy nose, she put them into this 10-gallon tank by themselves with a sponge filter in there. That's all it was. It was nothing fancy. Put them in there just to make sure they were okay before adding them to her discus tank down the road. And I'll just tell you, within about 48 hours, every single one of those rummy nose tetras was dead. Again, don't really know what it was, but they all died. They all died very fast. John, your water in that quarantine tank was probably bad. No, it wasn't. How dare you accuse me of something like that? No, the tank was fine. We had used it for other situations. We had put fish in there. I mean, they were fine. There was nothing in there at the time that she put these rummy nose in, but this was a tank that was well seasoned. It was completely fine. Could it have been something in the tank? I suppose, but I don't think it was. I think these fish were sick when we got them and they just never recovered from that. The stress probably from all of their journey to get to the fish store, and then we buy them, and then the stress of bringing them home and all. It is very stressful on fish. I guess it just got to them and they all just started dropping. And once one got sick, whatever it was, spread to all of the others. And it happened fast. It was very, very fast. Every single one of them was dead, gross, like they got fuzzy, and it was bad. And both of us were like, whew, dodged a bullet on that one, because those fish were supposed to go with her discus. And let me tell you, if we had put them in the tank with discus that were a few years old at that point and Lisa's absolute prized fish, and they had spread whatever it was that those rummy nose had to, oh boy, whew, that would have been disastrous. It was disastrous enough, but if it had taken the discus too, that's the kind of thing that would have made her just quit the hobby and be over it. Like, that's it. I'm done. I can't do it anymore. I'm out. But thankfully, she made the right choice and she quarantined those fish. It was sad to see them go, but what were we going to do? If you're curious about what we do now, we have a 29-gallon tank set up right now. It's always running. It's always ready to go because we have a lot of tanks and we're always getting in new fish and stuff like that. That's what we use. It's nothing fancy. It has a heater in it. It doesn't even have a light in it. It's got a sponge filter in it, and that's it. It doesn't look pretty. There's no aquascape. It's just a box of water with a sponge filter in it. That's it. And a heater. That's all you need. And we've got it. It's always available. It's actually right there, but you can't see it. And I'm not going to show you because it's not pretty. Now, I understand there are probably people watching this right now who are thinking, well, that's just not something that I can do. I don't have the space. I don't have the resources. I can't set up another tank just for quarantine. Am I going to fail in this hobby by not quarantining fish? Because buying fish is the best part. Am I just never able to buy fish again because I don't have a quarantine tank? No. And I'm not going to say that you're a bad person if you don't quarantine. But I will say that most likely, if you are doing this for any length of time, you will eventually probably run into a problem if you don't quarantine your fish that you get in. I'm not going to say it's going to happen every time because it doesn't happen every time, but you can run into problems. It's one of those scenarios where it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. I hate to say it that way, but it will happen. I know it may not have happened to you up to this point yet. I get it. But the stories that I just told you are not unique to us. They are stories that every fish keeper that's been doing this for any length of time can tell you. They've had their experiences, because I don't know anyone that's never not quarantined. Everybody that I know that's in this hobby has added fish to an existing tank without quarantining them. Some of them have had success. Some of them have had nightmare stories like I've had. And trust me when I tell you, and I can speak from experience, it's a mistake you only make one time. Once you make that mistake, then you're like, okay, I'll be damned if I'm going to do that again. I will never make that mistake again. I'm going to quarantine from this point on. If you're somebody that has to learn the hard way, like me, then have at it. Keep doing whatever it is that you're doing. Add your fish and don't quarantine them. Just understand that you probably will run into a risk or run into a problem at some point. Is there ways of preventing this? In my opinion, there's really only one. And even this idea is not foolproof, and that is to buy fish from a trusted source. I got to be honest with you. There are places that I could buy fish right now that I wouldn't even bother quarantining. I would just put them straight in with other fish. Why? Because I know the people. I know how their operation is run. I know that these fish are in flow-through systems. There is no risk of anything having been spread to them because their water never comes in contact with any other tanks. They are good. They're healthy. They're strong. I trust the people that they come from. And so with those, I would feel okay adding them to existing tanks. But only when it's somebody that I know and that I feel very comfortable that I can trust. If you don't know a situation like that, or if you don't know someone like that, and you're really unsure about where your fish are coming from, then it really should be required for you. Because listen, it's a sad reality, but the vast majority of aquarium stores out there, fish stores, they're not quarantining their fish when they get them from distributors. Why? Because they don't have double the tanks. You know what I'm saying? They have 150 tanks with fish for sale in them. They would have, if they're going to quarantine everything, they would need another 150 tanks to quarantine all of those fish in. And listen, most fish stores are running on a razor's edge. One wrong move can ruin everything and shut them down. Believe me, I've been there. So they just don't have the ability to do that. Does that make stores bad? No. They can only do what they can do. I've been in all of my time of being in this hobby, traveling all over the country, doing YouTube shows and all of this kind of stuff. Not YouTube shows, but doing aquarium shows, and I'm there as a YouTuber. I've been to fish stores all over this country. I've seen one store that exclusively, like without exception, quarantines everything that they brought into that store. And I'm sad to say that store is no longer in business. It was in business for like 4 years, and then it shut down. I don't think it was shut down because they quarantined their fish. I think that's a great way to do it. And I think in a perfect world, every fish store would do that. But it's not a perfect world. And most fish stores, all that I've been to but one, don't have the ability to do that. So we've got to do it as fish keepers. It's the responsible thing to do. It is the best practice to do. But I understand if you can't. I'm just going to say, research heavy, research strong. The beautiful thing about buying fish today is you have so much information that you can get about that source. Example would be, you got a local fish store. You just got into this. Remember, we're all new here, right? You just got into this and you found out that there's an aquarium store 5 miles from you. You can read so much information about that store, reading reviews, typing in their name on Google and getting the results and seeing what people are saying. And if the overwhelming majority of people are saying, I buy fish from them all the time, they've never had any problems, they've all been perfect, well then, you can feel pretty comfortable buying from them. But if you see a lot of stories, I had the fish, but they only lasted a week. I had them for 2 weeks and then they all got ick and then they all died. Whatever the circumstances are, then you might want to play it safe and quarantine. Let me be clear. I think you should always play it safe and quarantine your fish. But if you're at that place where it's just not something that you're able to do, then I would just be real cautious of where you buy your fish from. Understand how those fish are kept. Understand whether you can feel confident that those fish are going to be happy, healthy, strong. They're not going to come with a bunch of disease. You never really know, but you should be able to look up as much information as you can to feel confident and then make your decision and then purchase your fish from them. But understand, even the best supplier in the world, you're running a risk putting your fish into your tank without quarantining them. You're probably wondering why I've been bumbling through my words. It's because this is a video that I've been struggling to make. I've been battling here for 2 hours to make this video for you because it is a really tough topic. I completely believe that every fish that you bring into your fish room or your living room or whatever to introduce to your tanks, every single one of them should be quarantined. I believe that from the bottom of my heart, but I see the other side. I see both sides of it. I understand not everybody can do it. And so I want to be able to play both sides here and make you aware that I get it. Sometimes you just can't do it. And I understand that. And I'm with you. But I just want you to know that it is a risk. I hope I've been clear. But the biggest thing that I don't want is for you to be scared of this. I don't want you to look at it and say, well, I can't quarantine because I'm still in high school. I live with my parents and they're only allowing me to have one tank. I can't quarantine. I don't want you to say, well, I'm just screw it. I'm just not going to get in this hobby. I still want you to do this, but I want you to be diligent about where you buy your fish from. I want you to feel confident that you're buying fish that aren't bringing anything in with them. You still never really know, but I want you to have that confidence, and I still want you to do this because I understand how powerful this hobby is. I understand how it impacts people's lives, and I don't want you to miss out on that because you can't set up another tank to quarantine your fish. I would rather you take that risk, but just try to minimize the risk as much as possible by buying from good sources. If the place that you're buying fish from is a little sketchy, you might want to avoid them. Even if they're given good deals, it might just be the best practice to just avoid them until you can quarantine. I don't know. But if you can't tell, this is a touchy subject. I'm going to say it again. This is why I work off scripts, because I repeat myself way too much. I want to be very clear, very crystal clear. You should absolutely quarantine your fish, no matter what the circumstances. Even the places that I buy from that I know the guy and I know the way they're raised and I know they're fine, I should still be quarantining those. Everybody should be. But if you can't, listen, when you send me the email that says, you know, John, I watched that quarantine video. I just couldn't do it. And I didn't quarantine my fish. And now I'm paying the price. I got a tank full of sick fish. I'm not going to ridicule you. I'm just going to say, yep, we've all had to learn one way or another. I get it. I've made the mistake too. We all do. I think every fish keeper does. It's just one of those things. But you should quarantine. But I understand if you can't. I hope all of that makes sense. Hey, listen. You might not know this. I have a website, keepfishkeeping.com. If you're going to buy fish stuff, it's a great place to do it. Thanks. Bye.